Jumbo, 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 jumbo. Kunjani, 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 kunjani. Lekai, 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 lekai. Hello, everybody. It's another exciting Friday, Friday the 13th. Welcome to the Black Friday session with your host LTK. I've got an exciting show for you guys today. We're going to talk about so many things. We have to talk about the new plane that has been made in Tanzania and will soon be shipped out to the rest of the world. We also have to talk about Brian Mwenda, the lawyer who allegedly won more than 20 cases, but he was not a real lawyer. We also have to talk about the heat wave in Malawi, Paul Pogba and his doping issues, and of course we have to say something about Will Smith and Jada, and everybody's talking about it. It's happening. We can't ignore it. We definitely have to talk about what is happening in the Middle East, Israel versus Palestine, and basically give you an overview of what the conflict is all about, a little bit about its genesis, and my thoughts on the issue. This is the show where we talk about everything black and everything African and everything that affects black people, promoting African culture, and just making sure that we're informed with what is happening and with what is not happening. So make sure you stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share as well. And at the very, very end, we're going to have a saying from DRC Congo. So make sure you watch to the very end to listen to today's saying from DRC Congo. Thank you again very much for tuning in. I think let's get the serious stuff out of the way, and let's start by discussing what is happening in Israel, in the Middle East. So basically, you guys have all heard, since I think around the 7th of October, the Hamas invaded some parts that are under the Israel rule, and ever since then, it's been chaos. So many lives have been lost, so many people have been displaced, and the world is taking sides. Other people are siding with Palestine, other people are siding with Israel, and other people are just like in between. They just want the war to end. So all in all, we have to condemn any act of war, because at the end of the day, man, these are innocent people, these are civilians. These are families that are being displaced, and these are livelihoods that are being displaced. And the unfortunate part of this whole story is that the Israel and Palestinian war has been going on for a very, very, very long time. So this is something that is not new, and it is something that may not go away in the foreseeable future. A quick background. The Middle East area that is regarded as home for a lot of Palestinians and Israelis was actually the land that was occupied by Abraham. So if you go back all the way to the Bible, Abraham, God said He would give him a new land and He would make him the father of nations, and that was the land that he ended up occupying. Now, Father Abraham is also the father of not only Judaism but also Islam. If you follow the story of Islam's the origins of Islam trace all the way back to Abraham. The origins of Judaism trace back all the way to Abraham, and by extension even Christianity. So you have Christianity, Judaism, and Islam all getting their roots from Abraham, who settled in this particular piece of land. And throughout history, there has always been different people occupying. Majority of people occupying that land at different times. At other times, they have been conquered by people outside. So you'd have like the Ottoman Empire, the Roman Empire, and all these other empires occupying and controlling the piece of land and dictating how things should go. And so that's basically the sort of inconsistencies that have been there in Israel ever since. So whenever a new empire comes in, they come in with their own new ideas and how things should be governed and who should occupy which part of the land. So you have Israelis and you have Palestinians. And for a certain period of time, the Palestinians had occupied that land, certain parts of that land, for a very, very, very long time. And then during a certain period in the early, probably 20th century, a lot of Jews rather, began moving back to what they perceived as their original home from different parts of Europe. So, they're facing a lot of resistance and oppression and all those other things. I think that later manifested itself even with Hitler and the World War. So you have a lot of Jews moving back from Europe and other parts of the world, going back to what they perceived as their home. And obviously, people already occupying that land, a lot of Palestinians already occupying that land who perceive that land as their home as well. So that definitely was a recipe for disaster. In 1948, the UN decided to partition the land. They gave some portions of the land to the Israelis and the other portion of land to the Palestinians. Unfortunately, the one party was not too happy with the way the land distribution had gone, and there's a lot of emphasis on Jerusalem, which is also considered the main holy land for both of these nations. So they were not really happy with the way the distribution went, and then that led to a whole year-long war. After the war, Israel occupied other parts that the Palestinians felt that they should have occupied them, and the Israelis felt like that they had maybe they were taking back what's rightfully theirs, basically. So that led to a lot of tension and conflict throughout the period from 1948-49 all the way to present day. So you have treaties in between, you have periods where there's some wars, there's some tension, there's some issues. But then this is the very what recently happened is a large invasion where the Hamas decided to invade parts of Israel or parts of the Middle East that they perceived should be under their control. So now that's basically what is happening. So two nations all claiming ownership of one piece of land, and everybody saying this is theirs, and everybody else saying this is theirs. Other people believe that the Palestinians are being wrongly dealt with because they have stayed in that part for centuries, but the Israelis say that no, this is their original home, and it is really an issue that needs I guess to be prayed for. I mean, some of these things might be spiritual. If you believe, then definitely it's an issue that needs to be prayed for. We need to send positive energy, and hopefully that the two sides will be able to reconcile soon. Because like I said, it is innocent people who are getting affected. It is parents, it is uncles and aunties, it is the kids, it is people who are not, who are not even soldiers that are ending up, being caught in the crossfire, being displaced. I mean, if you put yourself in their shoes, whether you're in support of Israelis or the Palestinians, I mean, at the end of the day, war is just very detrimental to the whole social structure. So that is basically a sort of background on what is happening. So of course, depending on which nation you subscribe to, the stories and the narrative is always different. If you listen to people who are pro-Palestine, they would express it in a way that Palestine is the rightful owners. If you listen to people who are pro-Israelis, they would also express themselves in that type of way. But basically, that is the issue. Two nations all competing for one piece, or for the same piece of land, basically. Yeah, but the literature saying that the international community has generally supported the two-state solution, which would involve the creation of a Palestinian state along an Israel state. So I guess the main issue is who gets what and why. So I think everybody's in favor that everybody should be, given their piece of land. But then the question is who's going to get what and why. So that is basically what happened in the state of Israel. So the question might be, okay, this is a Black Friday session. What does that have to do with Africa? First and foremost, I mean, we're all human beings at the end of the day. So whether a white man or a person who's different, a black man or somebody who's differently skinned from you is suffering and an inhumane situation, we still have to, be compassionate and care about that person, because at the end of the day, we all belong to the human species. So aside from that, aside from wishing them well and hoping that this war ends, I mean, we're in a global village, so whatever happens on one side is going to eventually affect what's happening, across the country. So we already had serious economic repercussions of what is happening in Ukraine and Russia. So that is something that we might also see happening if a war like this goes on for a very long time. So it will end up even affecting African countries and the like. But even Egypt, which is in control of the Gaza Strip, or has been in control of the Gaza Strip for the most of the time that there has been this back and forth, is an African country. So that generally means that there'll be a ripple effect to the rest of the African nations, because Egypt is a very, very key economy in the African culture. So yeah, that's basically the update of what's happening in Israel and Palestine. Let me know your comments. Let me know your views in the comments. If you have any questions, I think we can get into a more historical discourse in the comments, but as a general overview, that's basically what is happening in Israel and in Palestine. What else is happening around the world? Okay, another story that I want to share with you guys was published in africannews.com, where the heading reads, or rather the description is that the United Nations mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo announced on Wednesday that it has taken strong measures against peacekeepers suspected of serious misconduct. So what is happening is that we all know that in Congo there has been periods of conflict for a long period of time, and there are always UN officials who are sent to go and help in humanitarian aid, military aid and the like. But it seems like some people have been charged with sexual exploitation and violence to the very people that they're supposed to help. So I think this is a very, very sad story for a country such as Congo, who are already going through a lot, and you have these officials who are coming in and they're supposed to be the help, but then they end up leading to even more problems and even leading to more hurt. And I strongly condemn these actions, and I believe that they should receive the full force of the law. And as a humanitarian aid worker, you really have to be very, very cautious of how you interact with the locals. What happened in Haiti after the Haiti hurricane, and there were stories of a certain organization that I will not name, who now are even less significant than they were previously, because what happened is that their aid workers ended up, engaging in sexual relationships with the very people that they were helping. And some people, some of the aid workers in that defense said, no, it was consensual, it was a relationship or whatever. But then, in the eyes of somebody whose next meal is coming from you, they can't really say no to your advancements. If you are their protection, or hope for them to see the next day, and you approach them with a relationship, you might think it's consensual, but is it really consensual? So that's the reason why I am really against any type of act such as this, whether it's consensual or not. I think as aid workers, they really need to be professional, man. And already so much has been taken from DR Congo. So much has been taken from DR Congo. The least the aid workers can do is go in and do their job. And this type of things end up making people have a negative attitude towards aid workers and the aid work across the globe. So I felt that's something that I needed to flag out and just make sure I speak about. So let's get into more lighter news. I think on a lighter note, would like to talk about Paul Pogba, Jacob Pickett-Smith, and the Malawi heat wave situation. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm really sweating profusely. I'm really sweating because in Malawi right now it's very, very hot, and we have been warned that this part of Africa is going to be experiencing temperatures close to 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. And basically the advice of anybody who's around this part of the world, make sure you drink a lot of water, you stay outdoors, especially around midday, and do not engage in in physical activity, especially when the sun is up and high. So that's just a quick tip for anyone who is in Malawi. And now Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is one of to me, I consider as one of the best midfielders we've had in a very long while. As a former fan, as a former player of Manchester United, which is a team I support, I've been always a fan of Paul Pogba. But now allegations are coming in as the player is being accused of doping, and that can lead to up to a 4-year ban in playing football. And everybody knows that in football, even 1 year is a lot for a player of his caliber not to be playing football. So still continuing with sports news, I would like also just to flag out somebody said yesterday, from last season, they asked me why I didn't talk about the COSAFA Women's Cup that's taking place in South Africa, you know. So today, definitely, I'll just give you guys a quick update that the COSAFA Women's Championship is happening and is in South Africa. And for now, the semi-finalists include Malawi, my home country, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Mozambique. So right now so that's basically the update when it comes to sports around the world. Let me know if you guys want me to continue giving you sports updates, and what type of sports would you like me to focus on. Now moving on to other news. Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith have been trending in social media circles. So basically, Jada and Will for some time were considered as the standard of black love, and they're both successful. Will Smith super successful, Jada super successful with their kids. So they were like an example of a type of family, a black family, that has made it that people are looking up to. Even one artist, J. Cole, said something along the lines of he looks forward for a relationship like the one that Jada and Will has. Well, of course, that was before the Oscar slap and the red table talks and all the things that have been revealed from there. So I thought I should just bring up this story since it was trending, and I mean, this is black love gone south. So in a recent interview, Jada Smith claims that her and Will Smith haven't lived together since 2016 and they secretly separated for 7 years. So yeah, that's a little bit of entertainment and gossip news that's going around social media concerning our beloved black actors Jada and Will Smith. And in other news, this is quite interesting. I came across the news that in Kenya there was a lawyer by the name Brian Mwenda. Apparently this guy was posing as a lawyer, and allegedly he argued 26 cases before the High Court, judges, magistrates, and Court of Appeal, and he won all 26 cases. Allegedly. Some sources say that he lost some, he won some, but apparently this guy was posing around as a lawyer, and finally he has been a statement issued by the judiciary distancing themselves from him. So I thought it was really quite interesting how somebody who's not formally trained as a lawyer can go on to win 26 cases. So some comments in the in social media are saying that no, I mean, this guy, instead of being arrested, maybe they should try to get him enrolled and hopefully he can qualify and become a lawyer, because what he did is super smart. Some people are saying no, he's broken the law and he's faced the law. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If somebody goes on to win 26 cases posing as a lawyer, what do you think? And lastly, on a very, very lighter note, we'd like to end with a story that's coming from Tanzania. Tanzania's first homemade aircraft, Sky Leader 600, finally has been launched, and I think that is great for Africa. That's great for Tanzania, and they're planning to expand, the production of these aircrafts to be able to sell them to the rest of the world. So I think it is great that Africa is finally moving towards manufacturing our own items, including aircrafts. So I think that is very, very massive. So that is all that I had for you guys today. Let me know what you think about today's show in the comments. I'm still trying to gather feedback on what more things you'd like to hear from me. What do you like me to take out and the like. I promise that I'll be ending every show with a saying, and with everything that we've been discussing today, we've got a saying from Congo, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and this is a country that has experienced war for the longest time, so I think they are the right people to listen to when it comes to issues of peace. So the author of this quote is unknown, but the quote goes like this: when hate reigns in a family, the world is full of dead bodies. When hate reigns in a family, the world is full of dead bodies. So let us remember that first and foremost, we belong to the human family. Let us spread love and kindness to each other, regardless of where we're coming from, which religion, or any other such characteristic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Peace in the Middle East. Peace in the world. Peace in Africa. Power to the people.